Hello everyone, and welcome to my first YouTube video. Over the next couple of videos, I'll be opening up a few different dead TCGs that I've collected recently. Today we'll be starting with Battle Spirits, a game that started in the West in 2009, originally from Japan in 2008. From what I understand, it's actually still going on strong there in Japan, but here in the West it only lasted for, I believe, 5 sets. And this is the last of those 5, if I recall correctly. So I'm just going to briefly move this box around. Maybe show off the different angles of it. The whole reason I decided to even open this on video, even though I'm not really like a pack opening guy, is just because there didn't really seem to be a lot of content about this game on YouTube. And I just found that to be a little weird. Like, the game's not so old that it predates YouTube itself. And I just figured it was kind of a gap in YouTube's content. Let's see if I can actually get this thing open. I do have scissors, but the plastic wrap is really tight around this box. There we go. Okay. There's the box with the wrapper off. Let's see if I can... I don't necessarily want to ruin it, because it is kind of designed to have a display case sort of thing. If you like ran a card store, you could just sell the packs right out of the box, I do believe. Certainly what it looks like based on this like a tear here cardboard thing. There we go. Oh, no, maybe not. Some of them have, like, nicer displays where the flap folds back over so you can see the art. I'm just not seeing how you could possibly do that with this. Looks like all of the packs have the same artwork on the front. Let's see if I can get that in frame. I'm realizing now I have this in like landscape, because that's typically just how videos are shot. But just based on the size of cards, it might make more sense to do portrait. Oh well. This won't be the only pack opening I do. I have a few different box sets of different games. Maybe I'll fix it for the next one. And these packs are real stubborn. Oh, maybe they have a tear point. Looks like they do. That's actually kind of nice if that was there intentionally and not just some sort of rip. Alright, here we go. If there's a ton of cuts in the video, it's probably because I'm doing cuts as I'm trying to work with these packs. They are really like a thick plastic. I hate that the text is so small on these. I mean, I want to be able to make it so people can actually see what the cards are, because I highly doubt, unlike with any modern game, people probably aren't going to know what these things are. Oh well. And I'm not going to spend too much time on each individual card. Oh, is that a foil? Oh, it is. show off that rainbow effect. Set that aside. I don't know if this is like a foil per pack situation, like Pokemon has reverses that show up all the time, or if that was actually rare and I just got really lucky. It's a shame this game didn't really take off. I think these cards look really nice. They have a decent feel to them as well. And it would be fantastic if there was a bit more variety in the card games we have here in the West. And that's everything. How many cards were in that pack? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cards per pack. And I've got a whole booster box here, so this might take a while. Next pack. So I guess to make this a bit more bearable to look at, I'll also talk about the rules of the game, since I expect if anyone just happens... Oh, another holo. Alright. 2 in a row makes me think that maybe this is just a holo per pack situation. See if I can... Kind of hard to see what the art is even trying to make out there. I don't know if that's just because the art itself is busy or if that's because of the holofoil effect. And you can also see the foiling is kind of on the rest of the card too. At least up near the top where you see like the cost and it says spell. Put that with the other foil. Anyway, as I was saying before, I was distracted by the holo. Talk about the rules a bit, since I expect a lot of people probably won't know them because the game never really took off here in the West. So it's not like I'm an expert in this game myself, I just did a very tiny amount of research about this game last night because I knew I'd be opening these today. So the number you see in the top left is the cost of the card, which you pay with these like mana crystals that you start with 4 of them and you get 1 more every turn. So it's a bit like Hearthstone in that respect. And next to the cost, you'll see those little like pips that are colored a certain way. And that's not like in Magic the Gathering, that would be a requirement for specific mana. That's actually a cost reduction in this game. So the cards have a symbol in the bottom right, and when you have them on the board as like a permanent, so either your spirits, which are like creatures, or nexuses, which are kind of like artifacts or enchantments, if I'm going to continue using Magic the Gathering speak. Just the nexuses don't attack or block, they just stay on the board and provide effects. So when you have a card on the board as a permanent, it can reduce the cost of cards in your hand by an amount up to the number of pips in the top left of the card. So I've got this next pack here. This is a Nexus. It offers 1 like yellow symbol, and it has a reduction of 2. So you would either pay 4 if you had nothing on board, or if you had 1 yellow card already on the board, it would cost 3. If you had 2 yellow cards on the board, it would cost 2. So it's kind of a neat system. I like the way these anime-inspired games, they tend to have some pretty varied card art. There's a lot of stuff that's just kind of cute, but then you also get some big monsters, and sometimes you get just like people who are supposed to represent knights or wizards or what have you. And I don't know if these cards that I've opened today have really shown it off too much, but I know that they use a few different styles. I feel like I saw online some card art that looked like it was a 3D model, like a picture of a 3D model. Not like something that was 3D printed, just CGI. But that's kind of neat. I feel like something Magic the Gathering could use is more variety in the art styles they use. They've been doing that with some promos lately, but not as much as I would like. I'd like to like open a pack and see a ton of different styles on display. Pokemon definitely has that. Pokemon has some cards that are like photos of clay figures. It's done the 3D modeling thing, obviously traditional art in a ton of different styles. I also kind of like how this game has, I almost want to call it like a kitchen sink fantasy aesthetic. And for some people, that might be a bit of an insult because it's saying it's not focused. But on that last card, we saw what looked like a giant mech, but we've also had like monsters and other fantasy things. So that kind of reminds me of Yu-Gi-Oh, where it's just you take whatever looks cool. Oh, you know what? I don't think I've shown the backs of these cards yet. So I'll do that with this first card here. Decent looking card back. So I guess getting back to the rules, I talked about the cost reduction. I guess I kind of just stopped because a lot of it feels like Magic the Gathering past that. You know, when there's combat, I believe it's you don't declare attackers all at once, you just declare a single attacker, and then the defending player can choose only a single defender. I don't think there's group blocking. I also don't think there's strict like combat phases. It's just kind of you attack whenever, then you can play more spells and put down a nexus or what have you. Um, oh, the level system. That was the other thing that was really unique about this game that I liked. When I put a card that shows levels on it in front of the camera, I'll explain what exactly it is that means. All right, so we've got no levels on that. Levels, here we go. So when you're playing a card, you do have to move your mana crystals or whatever it is they're called from like the zone that represents that you still have them to the zone that represents that they're depleted. And at the start of each turn, you get all your depleted ones back. But you do have to, when you play a permanent, you have to place a certain number of cores on it. This takes one core for level 1. And those cores you don't get back until the card is removed from the field. So playing more cards permanently, well, semi-permanently, reduces the amount of mana you have access to. Kind of an interesting system. I guess it fights against like swarming the board with low cost stuff because the game just relies on a like a barrier system instead of having health points where when you get hit you take damage equal to the like power of the enemy's monster. You just take an amount of damage equal to the number of symbols in the bottom right. The same cost reduction symbols also represent damage, I do believe. And most of those that I've seen just have one, so you're not taking a ton of damage from any single hit. It's about landing a lot of hits. So the desire to land a lot of hits would imply that swarming is good, but then swarming also means you're spending a lot of your mana crystals permanently. So they kind of are at odds at each other. The mana crystal, like placing them on the card, encourages just playing one really good monster that doesn't take up all your stuff. Yet the attacking suggests playing multiple things is better. So it's cool that there's, a balance between the two different kinds of strategies. It can be a little disappointing if a game ends up having mechanics that encourage being super aggressive, because then the games don't really get a chance to develop themselves, and the late end just never has a chance to even show up because you're dead before you can play it. The new Digimon TCG, I haven't played it yet because it's been hit hard by scalpers and it's really difficult to get stuff. Also, like, everything is closed physically, so there's not like there's a local game store to go play at anyway. But based on the way its mechanics work, there is no blockers system. If you attack, you get in. And with that, it just seems to encourage being like really aggressive. Apparently the game, like one of the most popular decks right now, is just a budget deck called like Rookie Rush, where you just play low-level Digimon. And that's all well and good. I mean, that is an entire play style, so it's nice that it's supported, but it can be a little disappointing if you want to play your big, fancy, like, I wish I could remember its single high-level Digimon's name off the top of my head, like Wargreymon, maybe? Not a huge Digimon fan. But you want to get out your big Wargreymon, and you're dead because your opponent hit you with 10 Agumons. Every time I slide a pair of scissors into one of these packs, I'm terrified that I'm accidentally going to, like, hook the cards and cut them up. That, like, tear here thing, it works for ripping off the corner of the pack and then nothing else. At first, I thought, like, oh, that's a really small box. I wonder if there's even... Oh, that's like just a Battle Spirits card in the card art. Yu-Gi-Oh! Does that sometimes. It's a little meta. I kind of like it. Anyway, the box was really tiny, so I was like, there's probably not that many cards in there. I paid like $50 for this, wondering if it was worth it. But the stack of cards that is now amassing to my right is pretty massive. And I don't even think I'm halfway through. I don't know if I've mentioned this yet, but I really do appreciate the, like, holos being available in every single pack. I also kind of wish I'd been paying attention to see if the holos are, like, tied to rarity or if any card can be a holo. But the bottom line is, it definitely makes opening any individual pack a bit more exciting. When you see how Pokemon was hit hard by scalpers in the past year or so, it's probably because Pokemon has such generous rates with like full arts and holos and everything. So whenever a casual player opens a pack, it's kind of exciting. Meanwhile, you look at Magic the Gathering, it's not as generous with that sort of stuff. I mean, you can still kind of get holos every now and again, but, the mythics don't show up all too often, and getting a holographic and a high rarity card on top of that, like a holo mythic, is rarer still. I might break this up into 2 separate recordings. I wish I had been keeping track of like what was halfway, but I didn't expect this to take nearly as long as it has. That's a cool looking card. Let's see if I can actually get a better shot of it. I've been kind of all over the place when talking about the rules of this game. I ended up describing the cost reduction system. You get mana every turn, start with 4 mana. I think you start with 4 cards in your opening hand, attack whenever you want. Your opponent blocks with one thing, you attack with one thing at once. That's the BP system, I think it's called, like Battle Points or Battle Power or something. That is next to any given spirit's level. And when you're at a certain level, based on the number of cores that you've put on, that's how much BP you have. I already talked about how that's not related to dealing damage to your opponent, but when two spirits battle, the one with the higher power survives, and in the event of a tie, I believe they both end up dying. There is like a sorcery and instant speed thing in this game. I think it's just like regular timing. Oh, flash step, you can see it right there on that card. So that's a card you can activate at basically instant speed in response to what your opponent does. It was kind of hard to find rules for this game, the original English rules at the very least. It's easy to find rules for the modern game, but similar to Yu-Gi-Oh! That has like new master rules all the time. Well, every couple of years, introducing new summoning mechanics. There were new card types introduced to Battle Spirits as well in the ongoing Japanese game. And I think this will be the last pack for this video. Like in the Japanese version, there's now like Braves, I think it's called. They seem to function like Union monsters in Yu-Gi-Oh! Where they are monsters or spirits regularly, but you can, I think they call it braving them, which is attaching them to something else, like a, well, Union monster, like an equip card. And there were some other card types I can't even remember. Is this the card on the box art? See if I can get that face in there, and then I think it might be. If it is, that's really cool. And good way to end the video, I guess. Was this like the third pack where I said I'm about to end it? I'm gonna end it for real. I will upload the rest of these in a separate video. It's just going on for way too long, and I'm getting a sore throat, not used to talking this much. Alright, so that's half, maybe a bit more than half of this Battle Spirits box. I do have a number of other dead TCGs that I've been collecting that I will also be opening just for the sake of getting everything onto YouTube, because there is not a lot of talk about these old trading card games. And I think that's kind of a shame. I think a lot of them have something interesting to offer. The level system in this game seems neat. The way there's like conflicting mechanics supporting both playing one big thing or maybe going wide. I can see why this game remained popular in Japan. Anyway, the other games I'll be opening, in case anyone's interested, is Dragoborn or Dragonborn, I can't remember what it's called. And that was much more recent than this game. This game was like 2008. I think Dragoborn was like 2000, it was late teens, I think, 2017, 2018. A Zatch Bell trading card game, which was based on an anime from like the early 2000s. And Zombie World Order, which is a really weird one. That game basically started out dead. I'm pretty sure it got one set in both Japan and North America. So if you're interested in old card games like me, maybe stay tuned for that. If you're just interested in Battle Spirits, that'll be there too soon. See you next time.